Welcome to the One Up Podcast, the place where we talk sports, movies, video games, and everything else under the sun. I am your host, DJ Doey Fresh, and here with me are my co-hosts and some very special guests. We have the Texas one without a gun, Mateo.
Hey, buddy.
The bald one, the great one, Pucho. And from the I Hate My Friends card game, we have Joel and Ronnie. What's up, guys?
Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
And if you are new to our channel, please show some love by hitting that share, like, and subscribe. And if you're a returning gang member, thank you for always continuously one-upping yourself. There we go. All right. Nailed that.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Nailed
Doe's
that.
been dying to read the write-up. You finally.
We're using mic capture, so I forget which way I need to point now for the like and subscribe. It's one of the ways.
We'll just add it, and don't worry, Pucho will take care of it.
Yeah,
all
just
right?
Photoshop my
Yeah,
finger
we'll
where it
fix
needs
it
to
in
be.
post.
No point here, but then it goes there.
Yeah. So I brought my friends here today. They are creating their own card game. It's called the I Hate My Friends card game. I thought that the idea of it was very novel, and I was like, I would really like to talk to these guys and chat it up, because creating a card game in 2023 is, I would say, like a challenging thing. You know what I mean? But I like the twists, and I like the integration that you guys are using with the QR codes and everything like that. But let me not give it all away. If you guys want to talk and introduce yourselves.
Yeah. So I'm Joel. I live in Manhattan, kind of just working, doing my thing. And I've known David now for a year. Yeah. Just stopping by. And lately our conversations have gone from 2 to 3 minutes, saying hi, to now we have like full on like 30, 40-minute conversations.
Nice.
When we first started talking about the card game, and then I told me about your podcast, I was like, we have a lot of things in common, humor, philosophies, and we kind of just started talking more, and now we're here.
That's awesome.
What about you, Ronnie? I want to know more about you. 'Cause you
I'm a
haven't
mystery
talked
to you,
a
huh?
lot. Yeah, because I'm like, all right, he's got to be another end of this angle you guys are coming with, because hating your friends, it's so a part of being best friends.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, my friends suck, Like, like that's why we're best friends. So it's like, this was perfect.
Yeah.
The name and everything. Was
I
just
especially hate Tony and especially specifically.
Tony is a hateable man, dude. He is a very hateable man.
Yeah, so
Especially when you walk into a bar and your entire attire is all Dallas Cowboys wear. He brings it on himself.
yeah, I don't even watch football, and I know that's not a good turnout for you.
He lives in Florida. Yeah. The man lives in Florida.
Oh, so he's just choosing to do that.
I think his
Born in Florida. It has nothing to do with Dallas.
Has he been to Texas besides to come and visit me?
So I don't think so.
I don't know.
Also, favorite basketball team of Tony's? The Boston Celtics.
Man,
How did he get a love for that team? Who knows?
All over the
Second
place.
favorite basketball team, because who has two favorite basketball teams? The Golden State Warriors. You're like, this guy's just weird. He's all over
He's all over,
the place.
yeah.
So, let's see. I also noticed you guys are running a charity, but this is not your average charity, right?
correct.
I think you guys put a very clever twist on this charity, and I think it definitely, I was all in. Once I heard of it, I was like, as I'm all in on this, I'm definitely gonna join in and explain what the Wraffling for Anti-Charity is.
Yeah. So the theme of I Hate My Friends is digging deep at your friends because you know them the best. So when we're trying to think of ways to make money and try to fund some other things that was like, well, we can do a raffle, but what's a different angle that we can go about it? So we thought about it, and one thing you can do is donate to charity. And I was like, well, I know a lot of like crappy charities, so what can we do to hate on them? And so if you win the raffle, instead of donating to charity, we have a list of charities that have been known to do shady things and will file a complaint either under your name or our name against that charity. And that's the message behind it. Some of these charities have been around for quite some time. So I feel like attacking them that way is a clever way to get more people involved.
Let's go.
I think it's rad. I also appreciate that it's spelled with a W, just like wrestling.
Yep, that's exactly where I got it from. Wrafflin.
The one that surprised me a lot was the Cars for Kids. I have heard that jingle on the radio, like it feels like my entire life. Mm-hmm. And then to find out that you're just funding Jewish people going back to the homeland. That's like all that is. Yeah. It's like you're just helping a Jewish person go back to and see their homeland and stuff like that. Yeah. I thought that was wild, bro, because I guess the kids are the Jewish kids, Cars for Jewish Kids. Like I guess it was in the title and we kind of just didn't realize who the kids were.
It's probably
it makes sense. It makes sense. It works, but like I never knew what that charity was actually supposed to go for. Also, I never understood the charity. When I was a kid, I thought that it was like a charity that gave cars to kids, and I thought that was weird. Like the kids need to be on the road. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I never actually understood it. I growing up, 1-8 that stupid fucking
1-877 cars for me.
You just ruined everyone's day, by the way.
KRSS Cars for Kids.
And there's a time of the year where it starts playing and it doesn't stop. You can't turn the TV on without seeing the commercial.
Yeah.
Is this like an exclusive New York thing?
I think it's a Northeast thing.
I heard it in Texas, so like it's everywhere.
Because I lived in Florida for years. I've never seen the commercial.
It's global.
Not once. I'll fly in to visit my family, and then boom, I'm seeing nonstop Cars for Kids. It's like I'm trying to watch a boxing match, trying to watch sports, a movie. You got to see the Cars for Kids.
Yeah. They even have a Family Guy.
TBS.
Yeah, Family Guy did a thing where they had a whole opera sing the song on the show.
Whoa!
No way!
Yeah.
So tell us more about this game. What is the premise of this game? Because looking through it, it looks like it's got like some Cards Against Humanity vibes. Some
correct.
There's this game I played one time called we didn't play test this, and it has a lot of really goofy rules in it. And I was looking through kind of your PDF listing, and looks there's some cool like shared DNA there. It feels like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a year ago, we were playing, I forgot what game we were playing. I was playing with
it was Hot Seat.
Hot Seat.
Yeah.
And I saw how deep they were cutting into each other, and they were having a blast. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I think there's something to this, between family members and friends. So I did a lot of research, and I think if you play a game with your closest friends, and if it's structured in the right way, you can have a lot of fun while at the same time grilling your friends. So we've done a lot of research, and the idea of the game is that you have questions that are deliberately asked in a way for your friends to answer about you. So like one of them is, what is one reason parents would not want me around their kids? And your friends know exactly the reason, and they'll you write it down. And everybody writes it down, and then whatever's funniest, they pick it. Where the QR code comes in is, let's say you're playing with somebody that you may not know that well. You scan the QR code, and an answer will appear, and you can use that answer, or you can use it as a starting point. So, like, let's say you're playing, and the answer is one of the answers is a Jew fro mixed with a mullet. So, and then you're like, oh yeah, they do have funky hair, so I'm gonna just go after that. And when we played it in Florida, they went after my hairline quite a bit. My friend had a petty stash, so we went ham on that. But that's the beauty of it. And we also have action cards, and they're a different color and a different orientation on purpose. So if you pick up the card, so let's say you were playing together, and you pick up the card and you see me do this. That means one of you has to do something. This one says point to have them point to who's more attractive, the person to the left or the right. So now, if I pick David, he has to pick who's more attractive and if he doesn't do it, he's out of the game. And if you do it, you just stay in the game. So that's more ammunition for your friends to use against you later on in the game. So that's the whole purpose of it, is to create an atmosphere for your friends to make fun of you and continue to make fun of you, as the game plays along.
There's going to be a lot of tension for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of tension.
I love that the action card creates like right away tension, like, because it's like as soon as you pick whoever you're picking, you're automatically, without saying it, calling the other person ugly.
Yeah.
It creates like this air, like, oh, word, like,
Correct.
so
It's like, it's like when you're playing Truth or Dare back in the day, right? And everybody would be like, truth. Ain't nobody, people are afraid of Dare. They're like, what are they going to ask me to do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's fine.
And there's one card that's meant to create even more tension, and that's it's called the fuck that card. So if you get this card, you hold on to it, and if somebody else picks an action card, they could pick you, and you could use that card, and you don't have to do that action. But they're not going to pick you because they know that you have that card. So they pick somebody else, and that other person will say, "Dude, can you give me that card? I need that card." And you say, "Well, what are you going to do for me?" And that could turn into, I'll wash your car, I'll give you all my points.
Wow.
So it creates like a desperation because they don't want to do that action that they're being asked to do.
And if they don't do
That's
the action,
incredible
they're
because-
out.
Yep.
Like,
Sorry,
if
go
you're
ahead.
out. I'm saying if they don't do the action, they're out of the game.
Yep.
So there's really, no option.
That's
Now,
rad.
I really like that because my favorite part about playing Monopoly is not following the rules of Monopoly and just coming up with any what are the extra incentives? They're like, hey, sell me that property, and I'll come up with 50,000 requirements that have nothing to do with the game of Monopoly. I'm like, you're gonna make me a sandwich in the morning, and you need to give me this much money, and when I land on the property, you're not gonna charge me rent the first 4 times. Like I come up with all this stuff. So it's interesting that built into the game, there's space for those type of like side deals or whatever. I like
Correct.
that.
Yep.
That's
Bartering.
really cool.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I think the QR code is really clever because like it definitely limits it, right? If it's a game you can only play with like people incredibly well, it limits it a little bit. I think the QR code is a clever way to like mix that up a little bit.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And that's when we were doing some early research. That's one of the issues that we saw on a lot of games. So now we're like, okay, how do we fix this? How can we make the experience better? And also it creates, a few years down the line, we will have different answers and more choices of answers. So if the buyer buys this game and there's only, let's say, 100 of these answers that it pulls from, in 2-3 years, it could have 500. So the game grows with that one-time purchase.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that too because it'll also give you an idea of like, even if you're not going to use whatever the QR code is telling you, it might give you like a genre of ideas you should think about now. That's like, oh yeah, I could roast them for like, it says shoes or something, and it's like, oh, well, they got them ugly ass Birkenstocks or something. I could roast them for that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's dope. What's as the tech nerd here? What's how does that work? Like, you have these QR codes. Do you guys have like are you guys like paying for like a database or
So we have a
like
computer.
is it a service or something to like
Yeah.
feed them those answers?
Yeah, it's a server that we have on AWS.
Nice.
And it's a database that we created, and we're constantly changing. And we chose AWS just because their network it's fairly cheap to operate, but their networks are 10 Gs. So it doesn't matter if you play in California, if it doesn't matter if you play in New Jersey, you're going to get a good response back. If we did it in-house and the electricity goes out here, then people can't scan. So that's one of the primary reasons why we chose AWS specifically, because we want the best customer experience possible.
Which one you guys set up the database?
I did, yeah.
This guy.
Me, yeah.
I still don't understand it. I have no clue what's going on with it. I do the design work. I made cards high quality, things like that. But the database, it's over my head.
Yeah.
You're about to ask him what database he's running, Booch. We're gonna get into a Maria
Nah,
DB talk
not that
here.
nerdy, Nah, like I'm a programmer, like as like my both as like a hobby, but also like for my job. So I'm
nice.
interested in that type of stuff.
Yeah, we could talk. Yeah, I could go through the whole thing.
Curious
Yeah,
how all that stuff is set up.
yeah. We can talk offline if you want. 'Cause I could talk about that stuff for hours. But people also they don't have to scan the QR code. When we beta tested it last year, there was people that were hardcore, like, no, I'm going to come up with my own answer. So, like, let's say you're up in the boonies with your friends and you let's say the lights go out and you can't scan it. You don't have to scan it, right? You could still play the game as is without technology even being involved, right? So,
So tell me about this 3D printed version of the game. What is different between that and like the standard like card version?
It's just going to be like a limited edition box, essentially.
yep.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Very
it's
nice.
censored. It's censored. It's still patent pending. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the box.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a little slot for the markers.
Yep. And it's
Oh,
got the
that's
cards on top.
clever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate some well-made packaging.
Yeah.
It makes
no,
me
this-
very
look at
happy
that.
seeing well-made
Oof.
packaging.
I like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's smooth. It's like an apple box.
That's super nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And yeah, we call it the Magnum because it's 3D printed and it's harder than the regular box. But we thought that, you know, for us it's a more economical way of providing, but it's also different too, that instead of raffling off the game itself, what about a different game that, you know, can be a collector's item in the future? Because where we see this game going is not just the game. We want to project this into more of a community. You know, with the social media, we this raffle, we want to do it every single year. So we really want to get people that have that same mindset. And by doing small things like this later on, we're like, oh, you know, who has the 3D printed box? And now that essentially could be a collector's item for people that are really, really into the game and into the ideology of the game.
Yeah. I was talking to you. Tell me about what your plans are down the line. You said something about expansion packs, and then you also said something about you guys were going to look into a Kickstarter or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Kickstarter we're aiming for September. So that'll help fund some you know the first batch and a little bit of advertisement out of that. And in there we'll also have expansion packs and those are pretty straightforward. They're going to be in a small packaging, about 10 of them, and they're going to have themes. Like the first two is going to be Valentine's Day, and then the big game, which is, you know, aka the Super Bowl. And those cards are just themed in that. And though we want to, with expansion packs, we want to get the essence. So I don't watch that much football. Ronnie watches it. So I want to, like, if you're a football fan, these cards will make a lot of sense to you because obviously you're buying the expansion card. But we wanted to take the expansion cards in a different direction that so Valentine's Day cards will only be active. So if you scan it, that portion would only be active from February 1st to February 16th. So if you scan it later on, it will say come back during these days. So the expansion packs would be based on dates, which is, you know, so and I feel like that gives it somewhat of a novelty, and I feel like it'll really enhance the user experience because next year when Valentine's Day rolls around, you'll have more choices and more and so that'll be with the Super Bowl one, that'll be with, like, let's say a basketball one or a Christmas one, and I think it'll change how people play the game.
I kind of like that. It reminds me of like video games, and they have like limited time events. They have like their summer special or their summer season or whatever going on. I think that's kind of cool.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And again, if you buy the expansion pack, let's say the Valentine's Day one, and you play it the first time, you paid, let's say, $10 for it, and you scan it, and there's 50 choices. Next year, when you roll around, it'll be 100 choices, and the next year after that, it'll be 500 choices. So the tagline would be expansion cards that keep expanding. So you could if you choose, you can just buy one box and buy one expansion card, but your experience grows over time.
Very cool, man. It feels like a lot of different things. It feels there's like elements of Uno even in there, and where you kind of can redirect a question to somebody else, right? Isn't there? That's the fuck that card, right?
Yeah, if you pick up a question, like let's say what's actually my most boomer attribute is blank, right? Let's say you know that card, your friends might say something that's really gonna trigger you, and you have the fuck that card. You could say, I really don't want you guys to answer this. Like I'm not. You could skip it that way because you know that that's gonna lead to an argument or lead to whatever.
Wait, I feel like this needs some expanding on because I think that is an interesting card to have there because we argue about this a lot in one of my other friend groups. This buddy of mine, he sends us a bunch of like Facebook links, Instagram links, anything that requires a login, and we call it like his boomer, like him just sending us boomer links. We're like, don't send me a link that needs to log in just so I can look at a meme. Just screenshot the meme and send it. What is with this method for setting things? I think that's interesting though. Like we all kind of grew up like early internet, right? So like there are aspects of us, even though we're not boomers, that are like boomer internet tendencies.
Yeah, things that you picked up from your grandparents or whatever, or just little quirks that you have that you don't think are boomer attributes, and then your friends call you out on it. It's like, what are you talking about? Everyone does that. You're like, dude, nobody does that.
Your friends that have dinner
I can't
at like
watch
7.
Tony
like,
use his computer.
Oh my god.
He's such a like. I don't know. It's like he's using a computer, but the year's like 1996. Or something.
I think
he's just so slow. I just can't stand watching.
Is he one of these when he's typing?
I'm pretty sure Tony types like that.
I think Tony has a trackball mouse, dude.
Oh,
Yo,
So they're
not
just
only
rolling it
that,
around.
You remember in Jurassic Park when they're entering the database, the little ass kids are like entering it. It feels like that's how Tony is using the computer.
She recognized it. It was Unix.
It was Unix.
Yeah.
Like, that girl was a G. She hacked the guy's system. She's like, this is a Unix. I know this.
yeah.
It's so fake, man.
And
I
Unix
think-
doesn't have that graphics. Unix is all.
No, she
think-
was like zipping through like a 3D world and shit. And
Dude,
it's like,
I wanna
using
say-
a computer's nothing like this.
I want to say that someone actually created like some kind of program that runs that interface for your Linux environment. You can install that on like Ubuntu or something. I feel like I've seen that before.
That's awesome.
Oh my god!
If you ever want to navigate your computer in the slowest way possible.
You want to get to your PDFs, is you got to go through a maze.
It'll probably be a productivity boost for Tony though. So how'd you guys link up? Like how did you guys get together and decide like, all right, let's create this card game or whatever?
Yeah, so I started dating his sister, now my wife. But even like before I met him, Amy's like, I think you'll really like Ronnie because we're both the type. So I have random ideas. I have an idea page on my notes, and it's just full of just random. They may or may not work. And Ronnie's the same way. They got him for his birthday. They got him a notebook that you can write in the shower because you just have random ideas. So,
That's great.
So when I started kind of trying to think of this game, I was like, I know the perfect person, and he was also involved in playing that. So I know he has like the sense of humor, the same sense of humor. So I think it just kind of organically came together.
Yeah, it was like instant. I met him. I was the first one in my family to meet him. Amy wanted me to meet him, approve right away before he even met my dad, my mom. Yeah, I was like, oh, this guy's great. Like, just like everything we saw eye to eye, like for sure.
Yeah, I remember what Amy's like. She's like, I was like, so what did Ronnie say? Like, well, Ronnie's like, well, he's not an idiot.
It's high praise, dude. That's high praise.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It is. Amazing, man.
Yeah, and Ronnie's also run his own LLC in the past.
Yeah,
so
I had a
that-
landscape business for like 3-4 years. So I just
good
sold it
stuff.
last year. Yeah, it was good. But
Very
I couldn't do it,
nice.
man. I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
fair.
it's out in the sun work, man. That shit is rough in the
Poison
summertime.
ivy, ticks. Yeah, I just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
But it was good. I learned a lot. It was a great experience for me, for sure.
Yeah, and I have a management
Ticks.
experience too, so it's like we both know what it's like to manage and take on projects, and so I was like, it was a no-brainer, to be honest.
Yeah, ticks could go fuck themselves.
Yeah,
I read
for
a
sure.
story of someone who got bit by a tick and it gave them meat allergies. They just couldn't eat meat for like 5 years, or their body would shut down. They'll go into like shock and they have to go to the hospital and everything.
So they were vegetarian, like
Yeah, they
involuntary
became like a
vegetarian.
vegan or they were like vegetarian or whatever.
That's
That
a very
sounds like
woke tick.
nightmare.
Very
Yeah, right.
woke, very woke
I
of
think
that.
it's the Lone Star tick. I think that's the one that I've heard. Like, if the tick bites you, you can get like allergic to. I think it's red meat specifically. So you're still good with chicken and pork, but you're not having your steaks, your burgers, or anything.
It's not a bad
And
diet.
then
I
Lyme
don't think.
disease sucks. It's
Yeah.
just ticks suck.
Yeah.
So.
I know someone that got not Lyme disease. It was like a bacteria. I think it was a deer tick, and they almost died.
Yeah, those are
It bit them on the face, and they didn't know what it was. And he went to the doctor. He got it checked out. The doctor couldn't figure out what it was either. And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, he got like deathly sick because it takes a little while to actually get you sick. And he had to spent like a week in the emergency room, like in ICU. It was pretty bad.
Which I've got a
Wow.
question for you. Would you rather get bit by the Lone Star tick and lose the ability to eat red meat? Or would you rather have Melisandre get that leech and put it right on your dick like she did to Baratheon's bastard son in Game of Thrones?
Jon Snow.
I mean, what are the long-term ramifications of
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
the dick leech? Because
I mean, she needed some king's blood, and apparently that's the best place to draw out that king's blood.
Damn.
didn't
But-
Gendry go and get it in with Arya after that?
Yes, he did. Yeah, so apparently it's still,
I'm
it was
doing
still
the leech
working
dick
out.
all
Yeah,
day.
Yeah.
Dick
He
leech
had a
all day.
functioning
Yeah.
dick. I'm with
And
him.
you're in one instance you're being seduced, so you know it's not too
Right,
bad.
and that's like a
Half and
kinky.
Yeah.
Melisandre.
I mean,
that don't even sound that bad.
There was no consent there, though, dude. That could give you some PTSD for the rest of your life. Anytime a girl gets naked, your erection goes away because you're expecting the leech to come out.
They might have been role playing. You don't know. We might have caught them right after he gave consent. You know.
Like, take off them jewels, babe. I want to see you natural.
Oh, no.
I forgot her old hair.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No
Or
teeth.
he meets a girl at the local pub and asks her if she's into leeches.
I'm sure someone out there is doing that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Absolutely
Yeah.
sure.
For sure.
called
The world's a
leechers or
big place.
something.
Yeah.
So what is y'all's gaming and board game background? Like, do y'all play a lot of board games? Are y'all gamers in general?
So I love creative board games. We play Monopoly and all that stuff, but creative board games I really like. Video games, more or less, like I would get into a video game, and then when I'm done, I'm done. Like I only play like maybe FIFA, Call of Duty, and I'll play that for like maybe 15 minutes. But I've always liked like taking a game and then just altering it and try to do something different with it. So I think that's been more my speed.
Yeah, I mean, for me, top game is GTA. Just you can't beat it.
Nice.
It's always just a good pastime. It never really gets old for me. So
I
I
just started playing Grand Theft Auto 5 again, and I'm
Yeah.
all in. I
Yeah,
love that
yeah.
game.
You
now
swap
and
your
then, bring it
opinions
back.
all the time on GTA 5 though, didn't you? Weren't you just like a year ago talking about how shitty and overrated that game was? That the
Yeah, I don't
story
know.
in 4 is way better and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how old is that? GTA 5 has really held its own.
yeah.
Because
It's,
it's a pretty old game.
It's over a decade at this point, right?
I think it's
Yeah.
10 years old.
10 years old.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's very
GTA
impressive.
Online though, like they created the forever game. It's like Destiny and Grand Theft Auto were kind of like the ones that created that shit.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
so much content on Grand Theft Auto Online.
Yeah.
It's almost a little bit overwhelming
Yeah.
Yeah.
because there's so much to do. And then everybody also is like glitching through the level. So like
Yeah.
I was on a mission with somebody and they only had a 2-seater car, so I couldn't go with them. But I'm like following them, and out of nowhere, all I see is his car lift off and start flying in the air. And I'm like, what is this? And he was just, I don't know, he had like hydraulic system. He was like glitching it out because it kept pushing him through the air in whatever direction he wanted to go to. And I'm like, what's the point? I'm like, he's getting everywhere ahead of me. I just
Yeah.
waited. I was like, I'm gonna wait until they're done with this.
I think you were just jealous you couldn't get in the car with him.
I was very jealous. I was like, I want to ride with you guys, bro. Yeah,
Do you remember
2-seater
doing
only.
the cheat codes back in the day? Like you get the magazine, you do up,
Yeah.
down, try,
Yeah.
let's get like like that was just the best.
Some of
Hey,
those
Shady.
Do we remember any of the cheat codes? I know they use the shoulder buttons.
L1, R1, L2, R2, something.
That sounds
Yeah.
pretty close, though. That sounds right. That's the start of one.
I'm
I don't
sure.
know why, but I trust you. That's it.
I'm sure if you put a controller in your hand, you just muscle memory right through it.
yeah.
100%.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. I couldn't even tell you a GTA code to save my life, but if you give me the remote, I could do like all the weapons, the restore health, get 100 armor. I could just start popping them out.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, now they're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. They do like the train. They'll put that train in there. They'll put all sorts of like SpongeBob running around.
the role-playing servers break my brain, dude. Like, it is so crazy. There's an entire scene of just people streaming on Twitch and just being like cops or like a store attendant or like it's just weird stuff.
My favorite one was they were playing the cops and robbers, and he's trying to stop a car. And he's like, pull over, and the guy pulls over, and then like I guess he had a mod, and a little baby hopped out the car, running away, and he says, "Get over here, you little baby!" Hilarious, bro. I was like, I need to get into one of these servers. I don't know, something about. I still have that very playful, imaginative. Like I love role playing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think I could have a lot of fun there.
I have trouble. Mateo, and we're about to go to Seattle to go to PAX, and the guys that are going, they want to play D&D, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Like I'm gonna play, but I'm like, I can't. I'd be so in my head that like I don't think I could role play effectively. Like, I'd be like seeing myself acting like somebody. Like I just can't do it. It just feels strange.
I've been playing the hell out of Baldur's Gate 3, so I am so ready to play some Dungeons and Dragons, dude. That game is so good. Game is so good.
Yeah, I've played it twice. I've had good experiences with it, but I'm just so not into that world, and I'm like, dude, just make my character for me because I don't know what I'm doing. And last time I played, I forgot I was a healer or something, and it was a good time, but I had to leave. So the next day I went into work, and my coworker's like, "Oh, your character died." I'm like, "How?
What?
Like he's a healer." And he goes like, "Well, we found a mirror that if you jump in, an opposite version of you comes out. So we all had a roll because we all could just jump in at the same time." I was like, "Okay, so what happens?" Like we all rolled like 8 and 9s. You rolled a 1. So basically, you tripped on the way to the mirror, and opposite version of us came out and just beat the shit out of you until you died. I was like, "What?"
It's unfortunate.
I guess that happens. I guess that's a risk.
Stomping you out. I could just see it. In front of this big ass oval mirror.
Yep, by people that you love.
Yeah. It's like the opposite of Cartman. The evil Cartman's actually really nice, and then Cartman is just the evil. He's just a piece of shit.
You've had evil Cartman all along.
Yeah, he just has a goatee. That's it. It's like the only difference.
Yeah, in the show Community, they had Evil Abed, and it was just him with the goatee. With the goatee, that's all it was.
Dude,
Goatee's
Community, what
legendary.
an underrated show. What a good
So
show.
good. We're rewatching
show.
it now, and it's like it's one of those shows that you watch and you just catch. You could watch it 4 times, and on the 4th time, you just notice a bunch of different things you didn't notice the last 3 times.
The background details they put into that. There's a Beetlejuice joke in there where they say Beetlejuice 3 times over the season. Every time the 3rd time they say Beetlejuice, you see Beetlejuice walking in the background.
Wow,
It's hilarious.
Never caught that.
that is dedication. Yeah, that's like me in The Office. I don't know how many times I've watched The Office, but there was a scene where Michael says you have to separate your recyclables by color. So yeah, and I was like, there's no way. So I looked into it, and there's a scene 2 seasons before where you look at the recycling in the background, and they're separated by color.
No way.
Yeah, so
No way.
Pretty, yeah. Or when they went to the other branch and they stole their printer, the color printer, tried to get down the stairs. A few seasons later, they do like a pan, and if you stop at the right moment, you see that the printer is now padlocked to the wall.
I was not aware of that.
That's great, man. The Office is like the unofficial show of the One Up podcast. There was a span there. We did a solid 50-something episodes talking about The Office, almost every single episode.
Yeah, it's the first season's a little rough, Michael's hair didn't do him justice. But after that, it just becomes absolute gold, and it's like just some of the points and the jokes they hit are so precise. It's an amazing show.
There's
like half them jokes you can't make today anymore though.
No way.
Like there were so many they've made Asian jokes plenty of times. The pretty much Oscar as a character invites all these like homophobic jokes that Michael makes, or just a lot of insensitive things that he says.
Yeah,
which I mean, I find all that shit hilarious. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think one of my favorite
internet
jokes
today, they'll cancel the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite.
Go ahead.
One of my favorite jokes is that he goes up to Stanley and he's talking about his age and he's got the wrinkles. Like, see, blacks do crack, and he's like, wait, that's not what I meant.
That's hilarious. It's for me, it's like the South Park effect. Like, I don't know how South Park got away or is getting away with doing half of the stuff they do, but I feel like as long as you do it in a comedic, satirical, like if you have that, I feel like, I don't know, it's less. I don't know. People can't criticize it as much. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, my sister's really, really into shows, specifically British shows. But when we talk about like The Office, she says, you're not laughing at the racist joke. You're laughing at how ignorant Michael can be, and that's the joke. That he's being this blatantly because he's the bad guy in that point. So you're not laughing at the fact that it's a racist joke. You're laughing at the fact that he thinks he's 100% in the right.
He's just unaware.
Yeah, he's unaware. And so I think that's part of the joke, right?
I agree with that. I think that you do run into people that are doing the opposite. We've talked about this before, like the people that watch what is that Nazi movie, American History X, right?
Oh yeah.
99% of people watching American History X and like their reaction is exactly what you would expect. And then there's some people that are probably watching and they're probably like cheering on like the curb stompings and shit like that.
Yeah,
they're like, we love American history. We just don't watch past the part where he stops being a Nazi. We love all the Nazis. You're missing the entire point of the movie, dude.
They've got the special cut, but cut is spelled with 3 Ks.
Yeah. I mean, you'll have those people, right? That like will read. So let's say you're a student of philosophy and you read Mein Kampf, right? And so you're kind of trying to analyze and see how did this come from this, right? But then there's other people that if you publicize things like that, then they could take that and idolize it, right? They could do the opposite. So if you publicize something for its brutality, other people can turn around and say and look at it and idolize it, right? So it's like you said with American History X, that people could see it as, well, this is a work of art and it shows everything that's wrong with it. Well, other people can look at it and says, no, this is everything I stand for, right?
Yeah, for sure. Even watching the Indiana Jones films, man, I didn't know that a lot of the outfits that they used in that movie, The Last Crusader and the Ark, were actual Nazi outfits. Like,
were they really?
Legitimate Nazi outfits, that were from the war. So I don't know, stuff like that, I see it and I'm like, you know what I mean? It gives an element to the movie. I'm like, maybe that's why it's so believable that they're Nazis, because maybe the costumes, are just that authentic.
That's really interesting, Like, you don't know what to make of it, right? You're like, it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of
it's
like...
a little fucked up, Is
there were also...
Go ahead.
I don't know if you guys knew this. I don't know if the Nazi ones, but before they became a big movement, their costumes or their clothes were designed by Hugo Boss.
Yeah, I did know that
Nazi
one.
Stuff,
And I heard Hermes as well. Hermes also made. I also heard, wasn't it Adidas?
Adidas. Porsche made a lot of the tanks, like the Tiger 1, Tiger 2.
Because they were building the engines.
Yep. And then Ford went to Germany, shook Hitler's hand, and said, if there's anything you want me to do for you,
No way.
Henry Ford, famous like anti-Semite, pro-Nazi dude.
No way, Henry Ford.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's your homie?
I just,
they go way back, dude.
I also heard IBM did help them like categorize everyone, like how their names, where they're from, stuff like that.
And Disney's another one. Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I didn't think the Adidas like people helped the Nazis in any way. I think the people who created Adidas were Nazis.
Wow. Yeah, because there's like a difference, right? Like with the Hugo Boss thing, I think once the Nazi movement started, like, I think they kind of saw what was going on and they kind of just started distancing themselves. So at first it was a business transaction, but then it gets to a certain point where you like, if you continue to do it, now you're supporting, right?
Yeah. You're choosing a side.
Yeah.
Why do the bad guys have like all the cool looking stuff?
Yeah.
Like I would, if like in Star Wars, right? When
I
you look
knew
at
it was
the
gonna go
good
Star
guys,
Wars.
right? I want to be down with the Empire. Like I fuck with the logo they got. But they're modeled after the Nazis, so I gotta reconcile that in myself. I'm like, they look like fucking Nazis. Like, but yo, red and black just looks fire.
Yeah.
Like, how come they can't pick whack ass colors so that we could hate them for more than one reason? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but Pooch,
shit is mad corny. They always be picking all the fly looking shit. Then now anytime, look, poor Mateo got that flag back there, and everybody's like, "What's going on over there?" You know what I'm saying? It's like
just to cover it, this is the United Farm Workers flag. I feel like I need to cover that every few months or so.
And pretty soon you see it canceled because of your flag.
it got nothing to do with the Third Reich. All right, the second, I don't know which Reich. One of them Reichs.
It's just some unfortunate colors that they chose, but otherwise it's completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pooch, the problem with Star Wars, though, is that Stormtrooper armor looks cool, but it does nothing. It doesn't protect against anything. Mm-hmm. We've seen Ewoks throw spears and it gets through the armor. So, like,
rocks.
What is the point of that Stormtrooper armor?
Yeah, no, I didn't say it was effective. I said it looked alive.
It just looks
That's
cool.
it. Even all the officers, everybody, all them scenes on the Death Star, like Grand Moff Tarkin. You know, the drip just looks fire for the. I was about to call them the Nazis for the Empire.
They're the space Nazis. It's fine.
Yeah, the space Nazis. Yeah, the drip is fire.
You notice how many aliens there are in the galaxy? How many aliens have you seen working for the Empire?
They're racist, bro. They're pieces of shit. That's why when you look at the rebels, right? You got all type of ugly looking motherfuckers.
You got
look at
fishmen.
General Akbar and shit. Ain't nobody accepting Akbar in the Empire. Like,
I was gonna say, if there's anyone that I would be with, I'd be with the Akbar people, bro.
that's actually fire. They when they were like doing like watch tests of the movie, people were telling them like, "Oh man, I really want to like Akbar as a character, but he's so ugly." And they deliberately were like, "Nah, we made him ugly to show people that not all ugly people are bad, and not all good looking people are good." Which is why the Empire looks so good. They're trying to show that these people look fly, but they're evil. You know what
That's
I mean?
why the Emperor walks around just ripped and shirtless throughout all those movies. He's
Emperor's ugly as fuck. But Darth Vader looks cool as fuck. Right?
Until he takes it off, and then
Until he takes it off.
He looks ugly as fuck.
Man, and he had such a cool voice, but it was like, then he takes his mask off, it's just like a white dude.
Yeah. I bet you if you go in there.
Is that like black voice or something?
I
Like
think-
they got James Earl Jones in there doing the illest fucking voice, takes the mask off, and it's just like some middle-aged racist KKK member or something.
Yeah. I bet you though, if you go in the kitchens of the Death Star and the janitors are all Ewoks or all, you know.
Oh man, that is probably accurate actually.
I didn't think about that, but that's a fact.
Yeah.
They did enslave a lot. If you read the comics, they enslaved a ton of races. So they're racist.
In Andor, there was aliens in that prison that we're in, right?
Wait, were there?
I don't remember. I feel, when I picture it, I only see humans.
Same.
Same.
It's
Maybe
probably a budget thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the Jedi's are obviously woke because they you know, I mean, Anakin is a cis white male. They don't let him in, right?
I don't think there is a single just straight up white human dude on the council. I'm trying to think. Qui-Gon, maybe?
Obi-Wan, that's probably Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, but that's about it.
Yeah.
A little
They
representation.
got like tentacle people. They got little people, green people.
They got that dude with that mask. I don't know what that mask does, but you know the guy I'm talking about? He's got the mask and like the little like dangly shit off his head.
Are you those?
It's one of the
We're not
Jedi.
talking about
Those-
Saw Gerrera, right? He's
No.
on the council?
This dude is just like an alien, but he's got like a little like weird Bane mask going on.
I can't picture it, but yeah, they fuck with the disabled. You know, they're accepting. They're accepting of all people.
I
All
remember.
colors, creeds, religion. Nah, they only accept one religion.
There's only one religion allowed. You have to believe in the Force.
Little fucked up there.
They got to go and
could be a
measure.
little bit.
They got to measure your midi-chlorians.
Yeah, whatever that.
Yeah, that's a little like. I mean, at least they're not killing people off for having low midichlorians, but
Yeah.
it's a little like.
Culty.
You know, they're like,
I
let's
mean-
measure this guy's IQ. All right, he's down with the game. You know what I mean? It's, it's a little weird, you know?
I feel like there's probably some shady stuff in the Jedi Church, though, right? Like they
Yeah.
take young boys, they take young boys away from their family and just decide to raise them. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel
Young
about
boys
that.
and girls. It's not
Is it
just boys,
ethical?
okay? They don't discriminate like that.
Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't gone down that hole in Star Wars where they talk about like how the Jedi could be a cult, right? Like out in the streets and stuff.
Facts.
I would like a movie
They
that
look
would
like a cult. If you
Shit's
see a bunch
giving-
of people wearing robes, you ain't trusting
Yeah.
those people.
Shit's giving major Jehovah Witness vibes.
Somebody's
Yeah.
wearing a robe. They're either homeless or they're like Assassin's Creed character. They're about to kill you. Like it's like
Yeah.
two options. Like I don't know. Like,
To be fair, though, Booch, someone comes up and knocks on your door right now wearing a robe, and they're like, "Hey, I just want to see if you've heard the good Lord of the Jedi faith." You're all in, right? Like you're listening to that entire spiel, whatever they're about to tell you, right?
it would have me hooked. They would have my attention for sure. First, I'd want to close the door immediately, but then when they said the Jedi faith, I'd be like, "Hold up, tell me more. Tell me more."
You close the door, they slice it open with an actual real lightsaber. You're all in. You're like, "Yep, I'm done. Taking your clothes off. Give me the robe."
Grab your case real quick.
So we were talking about good charities that you guys liked. What kind of charities are you into?
One that I've been following for a while is Innocence Project. And I like them a lot because let's say you are incarcerated and you feel like you're innocent. It's something that went against you. They don't just take anybody's case. They will look over your case and try to figure out if you're actually innocent. And if they take you on, they'll do the lawyers. And a lot of people have been exonerated because of that. And exoneration is one end of it, right? But then also you have to catch the person who actually did it, right? Because just when somebody puts someone in jail, they stop the investigation. So I like the Innocence Project a lot because of how thorough they are, and they don't just take someone at their word. They actually do their own investigation and try to get innocent people, and then try to also catch the people who did it. The other charity that I really, really like, it's called Alice's Kids. And what they'll do is, let's say you're trying to get on the basketball team in middle school, but you can't afford the shoes, you can't afford the equipment. They will help you with that. But what they also do is do it all in the back end, because if you get on the basketball team and people know that someone helped you out, they could bully you. They can make you feel bad for taking help. So everything's on the back end, and no one knows that you got this extra help. And I think that's a really nice twist of helping people, but not letting others know that you got help, getting on the basketball team or the baseball team. So those two charities I really like, and I think that we need more of those.
I like that a lot. I'd really like that second one you listed, because there's this thing that I've thought about a lot. I think a lot about, like, when I'm watching the Olympics, like you watch some of these weird sports that people get into, like the one where you like ski and then you shoot stuff and you ski again, things like that, or like bobsledding and things like that. Like there is some kind of monetary barrier for getting into sports like that. Like who competes in that? It's rich people. Like it's people that are more well off, that can afford all the crazy equipment and the crazy specific lessons and things like that. That's why you see like more poor people in, group sports, soccer. I mean, soccer, you need what? You need a ball and you need to be able to mark some goals somehow. Like you don't need that much equipment.
Exactly. Hockey is a big one, because hockey's hella expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna say football. It would be super expensive if it wasn't for school. Like school provides like all the equipment for like a football team, but like if people had to buy that themselves, like no one would play football.
I bet those
Like,
helmets
it's
are
all the
pricey.
football players, they come from the hood. Ain't nobody got money to be buying all them pads and shit.
Yeah. You get
Maybe-
hand-me-downs.
Maybe we should all get into rugby instead. Maybe that's what we should be playing in the hood. Is just we get into rugby.
No equipment. All you need is
Save
a big
some
body
money.
and a ball.
Or lacrosse. I've always wanted to play lacrosse.
I feel like lacrosse has a lot of specialized equipment, right? Like there's like the stick. You wear like some pads. There's a helmet you wear. There's some.
Yeah, I don't know anything about lacrosse. I know
I
that
think it can get pricey for sure. You can get like a carbon fiber stick, you know. It's kind of like a rich kid sport too.
That makes sense because like the only neighborhood I've ever seen lacrosse played at is this like little bougie neighborhood down the way from me. I see like the kids out there on Saturday playing lacrosse.
Oh man.
I don't even know the rules for lacrosse. I have no idea how it works. Is there a goal that you're trying to?
there's a goal
I
you
have
want
no
to throw the
clue.
ball into.
It's
I
like
think, right?
it's like
Yeah.
soccer with sticks, like hockey soccer.
Interesting. Isn't field hockey already a thing though? Like what is?
It's like hockey on a grass field.
It's interesting.
What was I gonna add? Go ahead, Doyle. What are you saying?
No, you go ahead. I was gonna wrap things up.
I was gonna say I've heard of the Innocence Project, mainly because I listened to this podcast, Radio Lab, and More Perfect, and they're plugging the Innocence Project all the time on there. These are like these kind of like court podcasts where they're talking about like, you know, trials where like people have, you know, they're facing like big odds or like or often like a lot of Supreme Court cases and stuff like that. And so yeah, the Innocence Project sounds cool. I've looked into the Innocence Project because of listening to those podcasts. And they sound
Yeah,
cool.
a lot of people who end up getting incarcerated just don't have the resources, and they end up with a lawyer that doesn't know what they're doing, can't find witnesses, don't have the just money essentially to clear their name if possible, and it's crazy that it happens. It happens more often than not.
What a fucking nightmare, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, like getting picked up and like, oh, you fit the description. You killed this person. I'm like, I didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
I saw something on Twitter the other day. It was this young 12-year-old kid, black kid. He went to go take out the trash. Immediately, you fit the description of a suspect.
Damn.
And they held him, and his father was outside. He was fucking pissed. He was like, you fucking traumatizing my fucking teenager.
Yeah.
Like, why does my teenager have to go through this now? And that he has this fucking experience with you guys. The kid was crying. He was fucking scared. And also, it was like 8 cops. I was like, why do you need so many cops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
weird.
the kid was
Yeah.
12. He
12.
looked like he looked like 4 strands of spaghetti. It's like you need 8 cops with guns to stop this kid. It just seems
Yeah.
seems so ridiculous. And then imagine like that guy. If that kid was older, they could have took his ass to Rikers Island and just leave him there for months until like a court
Yeah.
date or something. That's
Yeah.
that's a nightmare.
That stuff is insane. I mean, that to y'all's point, like there are a lot of issues there. Like even if it's not that extreme, even if it's not you're accused of murder or something. I've had buddies just get arrested, right, for DWIs or whatever offense. They don't explain anything to you. Apparently, you're just there in the holding cell, and like they don't tell you like, oh, you need to talk to a bail bondsman, you need to make calls, you need like they don't tell you all this shit you need to organize. You are just put in a cell, and if you don't get your shit handled before they move you over to general population, you're just there now until you figure it out. It's
So
kind of
fucked.
wild.
Have y'all ever heard of the Glock Dookie?
No, the Glock
It's a thing.
Dookie.
It's a prison thing.
Doyle would
Basically,
bring up shit at some point. I would shit it out, but
We were so
But
close.
we
yeah.
tried to shit it out. We talked about Mudbutt before the podcast, and Doyle couldn't. 1 hour, that's the limit. He
Is
went
this
an hour.
Is this a
Right,
Glock?
but let's hear what's the Glock Dookie.
I've got three guesses on this. It's a Glock made out of Dookie. It's a Glock that shoots Dookie, or it's a Glock in your butt.
so it is a contraption that
Oh.
you make in prison in order to get at somebody, or they use it on the guards sometimes. But it's like this device that when you press it, what you put inside of it, fecal matter, semen, pee, whatever the hell you put in it, it shoots out and it hits whoever's in front of you. And they do it to other inmates. They do it to the guards. So that's called the Glock Dookie.
Are you considered like hard? Like, is this like a tough move to like shoot someone with your
I have no
bodily
idea.
fluids?
Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, it's every nasty thing you could think of in that thing.
That's
Yeah,
disgusting.
the prison hierarchy, right? You got to work your way up. You got to you got to beat people up. And then there's like, you got to defend yourself from people trying to assault you. And then once you reach the pinnacle of like your cell block, then you've gained the ability to use the Glock. So only the toughest guys get to shoot people with
So the
Glock.
person at the top of the hierarchy is there in the middle of the night jerking off into a gun, and that's because he's the
Yep.
top guy.
It's a fleshlight. He's like pounding away at this thing, trying to load it up. He does it for weeks before he gets enough fluid in there to
All the other prisoners are looking at him like, man, that's some gangster shit over there that
Yeah.
he's doing.
Fucking he's putting in that work.
A little bit
Imagine
of
you
hot
have
Cheetos.
a boss. Go over there and put in that work. Fuck. Well, anyways, guys, I got my dookie in. I'm glad.
Oh, yeah.
that
Yep, you did.
I got that dookie in.
We hit our quota.
Yeah, we hit our quota for the day, for the episode. I want to thank Joel and Ronnie a lot. Joel, thank you. You guys have been fantastic.
It's great having you on.
Yeah, I
Thank
really
you.
hope we get to have you on somehow in the future so that we could actually like play this all together. Maybe we get into the same room with each other, something like
Hell
that,
yeah.
so that we could actually play this game and we can create some content with it. I think it could be a lot of fun. I love the idea. I love the inception, just everything about it. And I think you guys are rock solid. Hopefully we can get some people to check out your charity, the anti-Wrafflin charity. All the links are going to be in the description of the podcast. So just check down there. You'll see the game. You'll see everything that's associated with them. And we want to thank you for once again rocking with us, staying one up. And remember, guys, to always one up yourself. All right? Take care.
All right. Peace.
Thank you.
Awesome.